Knock, knock. Who's there? Yes, it is. It's me, Jacques Kepner, on your radio dial at KFUG 101.1 FM in lovely coastal Crescent City, California, and now on KZZH 96.7 FM in Humboldt, Eureka, and Arcata, California. Welcome. This week's live edition of Jacques Talks. I was so enwrapped in a conversation with the guests we have on here today that I just at the last minute heard the intro music there, produced by the one and only David Sedgwick on piano. Today's date is Wednesday, October 2nd, and it is a sunny, a bit windy day out there. Actually, it's really, really nice here at the Fug Studio. The wind has kind of subsided out where Doc and I live, out near Lua, Lake Earl Wilderness area. It's kind of windy. I have a great show lined up for you today, as two very special folks in our coastal community are in the Fug Studio with me to tell their stories and enjoy their company for the next hour. But before I introduce our guest, I want to give a special shout-out to the ever-growing populace of informed listeners to Jacques Talks. There's Jaden and Jared and Grant. That was so much fun hanging out, and Sam, and hanging out with you last, Sunday night. There's Dr. Sherry and Chris, who's coming back from Arizona for the big convention, the Doctors Convention in Phoenix. There's Vera. Hey, Vera, hope you're doing well. There's Steve Portzer, the local blacksmith here in town. I had a great time with him Saturday morning as he taught me some of his trade. We've got Jamie and Lindsay, Tyler and Casey, Dave, Claire, Patty, Kelly. Kelly, the squeaky chair is gone. Can't help you there. Victoria, Darwin. Then there's Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And, of course, all the pantheon of prophets like Zoroaster, Moses, Buddha, Confucius, Muhammad, Jesus, Baha'u'llah, just to name a few. And they're always listening. Well, welcome one and welcome all. Pull out your pens and papers and keep track of what's going on today, as you may be wanting to write some things down that you will learn from our guest and yours truly. Speaking of which, are you or someone you know a true character here in our lovely coastal corner of the world? If so, reach out to me on Facebook and friend Jacques Kepner. That's K-E-P as in Paul, N-E-R. And hey, you could text me. I'm putting my phone number out there. It's a new horrible phone number I got. It's the worst phone number I've ever had in my life, but it's okay. It's what it is. It's area code 415-608-1063. I guarantee you no one will remember that number, 415-608-1063. Well, there you go. It's that easy. Today's guests are relative new friends of mine. I first met Mike Schmidt at an outdoor concert where he plays bass in the band The Wayouts, and occasionally as the McCools. I think it was a couple of years ago that we met. It wasn't until just recently that the Dr. Gigi and I met Jen Schmidt, and we found her an affable and very lovely lady. These two are trailblazers of sorts. I'm finding out just before the show some more things that they are doing, and it's really, really, really cool. They are making their indelible mark upon our community as the owners and operators of HOJ, the House of Jambalaya restaurant, which is located down at the harbor adjacent to South Beach and Crescent City. But Michael and Jen Schmidt are also very active in our community, of which we will be finding out more about during this interview as it officially begins. So, 3, 2, 1, push the buttons and let's begin. Welcome, Jen and Michael Schmidt, to the Jacques Talks live radio show. You two are coming off of a festival that was happening last weekend at the Longboard Surf Festival. Most of it, which was right there adjacent to the House of Jambalaya. Welcome, and tell us about what's new.
Thanks, Jacques. Thanks for having us.
All right. You've been on my radar for a while. I've wanted you guys to come in, the Wayouts to come in. And
we'd still love to do that.
Yeah, and then we met Jen busy at the restaurant the other day, and it was so nice that you agreed to come down, both of you come down for this interview. So let me start off with you, Jen. Where were you born and raised?
I was born in Fresno, California, and my family moved up to the Pacific Northwest when I was young. And I was raised up there. I moved back to California. I absolutely love the North Coast. I lived in southern Humboldt for many years, in Shelter Cove, and then along that Lost Coast region. And definitely consider myself a Northern California person. One of the things I love about specifically, Crescent City is we are California. I love California, but we're also Pacific Northwest. Yeah. And so it's, I love the region, the climate, the weather, the topography, the isolation, the Wild Westness of it. Everything about this area appeals to me.
Well, how long have you been in Crescent City?
We've been here 16 years, 15 years.
So you arrived in the fairly...
2009.
2009, cool.
Yeah,
and got up here and not looking back. How about you, Mike? Where'd you grow up, Michael?
Northwest of Philadelphia. I was born in Wilmington, Delaware.
That explains things. Okay.
So, shout out to my Wilmington Memorial peeps, Angela and Victor. Ran into some folks out here, met at the restaurant and locally that were actually born in the same hospital that I was.
Wow.
In Wilmington.
What a trip.
Delaware.
What a trip.
Yeah.
You could be listening to this if you're streaming, as many of you know. You can stream it by going to kfugradio.org and just push stream, listen live. Or you could, in a couple weeks, this will be released on YouTube, and you could find this interview on YouTube, the audio of this show. All right, so you've been here about the same time. Yep. You both came here together as a couple.
Yep. Yes.
You have kids? A couple kids? Or?
We do. They were 1 and 3 when we moved here.
Right on.
So our daughter just graduated Del Norte High School in June.
Congratulations.
Thank you. She's actually currently in Europe having an amazing time. She's at the Louvre in France today. And our son is 15. He's a junior and very involved at the music program at the opening you talked about.
Oh,
David Sedgwick.
Sedgwick, his brother Dan.
Dan is just a phenomenal force of nature and really doing incredible things for our community. And our son is a direct recipient, of all of that talent and leadership and vision and how he's modeling and implementing it in our community.
And many of us in the community, and a pillar of this of the things that are going on, at least in the performing arts, is Nick Rail, who you may know. Yeah, Nick Rail, who was in charge of the partnership for the PPA, Partnership for the Performing Arts, which will be on or near the campus of the Warriors at Del Norte High School. So that's going to be at one end of town, this north end of town. And I didn't quickly talk to you about this, but I've heard there is some big changes coming down to your end of town, where the House of Jambalaya is, HOJ. A lot of development coming in, possibly, which is going to, this community sorely needs that.
Absolutely.
Why not just burst that big bubble of beauty that's out there and say, let's lay down some tracks for future generations to really enjoy it and have something to do when they come here. Right? So we could... Yeah,
I would say, because there are a lot of ideas and plans being floated out there, anyone who might be interested to learn more can go to ccharbor.com. That's the Crescent City Harbor District website. And if you scroll down a little bit, the strategic plan is listed on there, and you can look at all of the things that are being proposed, possibly being implemented. The strategic plan, it's really inspiring. It's visionary, and it looks... in a 360 view of what is working, what has worked, what hasn't worked.
Right.
Looking forward, what is sustainable, what's not sustainable. How can money, in a really centropic manner, be injected into our community, which of course is tourism. But how can it be done in a way that enhances rather than detracts or takes away from anything? So
it keeps that focus on the harbor specifically.
It keeps it on the harbor, right?
Keeps that focus on the fishing and the commercial industry that goes on down there, along with the other factions. They've kind of looked at it, and the plan that she's talking about kind of looks at the harbor as a whole.
Right on.
It's not like this little section, that little section. It's the whole thing, and how it's all going to work together.
Yeah, I was at there's so many things going on last weekend, but Friday night was the soft opening or semi-party at Dr. John and Cynthia Kirk, Dr. Kirk and his wife Cynthia.
Port-au-Prince,
South Beach. Port-au-Prince, South Beach, So big new move, bold move there, coming in with that.
Yeah.
The gallery is right around the corner, which I've had them on as guest on the show multiple times. We got England Marine. So there are the base boards laid down there, but then there's also the big gaps of undeveloped property and dormant property that's sitting there. I just found out that biggest building, kind of, you could see it from your place, that big, it used to be a forgery or it was a boat rehabilitation that closed down a few years ago. I found that out from Steve Portzer, a blacksmith over here. And So that's, I don't know what they're going to put in there, but where the band was playing this last weekend, not on your property, you have your own stand, your own stage there. But from that point up to that motel on the up on 101, there's a huge lot that also is, that's now, it used to be Redwood Harbor RV. Mm-hmm. Is that defunct now? Is that going to be, I've never seen a trailer in there.
The current, the RV park was a full service, RV park with full hookups and everything. Okay. Currently, I think those are turned off, so it's, quote, dry camping, as they're working to rehabilitate the infrastructure, electrical and water and so forth. Right. So it is still open, but just for dry camping. And then the lot next to House of Jambalaya is called the Overflow Lot. And that one doesn't have hookups and things. So it's been used and proposed for many things, but it is technically part of the RV park.
Right. Where is the House of Jambalaya located? What's your address?
110 Anchor Way.
110 Anchor Way. That's the last, as you're heading south through town, you go from 2 lanes down to 1, and just before you get to South Beach, or where it opens up the highway heading out of town, you have that last turn right there, and that's Anchor Way. And then just a block down the road, you'll see the House of Jambalaya, which is a cool. I took the greatest picture of it the other night, right at dusk. So the light was shining, and I guess I took it in Dr. Gigi's phone because I can't find it. I was going to post that on Facebook. It looks so cool, kind of like the fog in the background, the light coming through, and just that right lighting. It's a beautiful place. You have it well lit up. Good kudos to you for doing that and having such a unique area. How long have you owned the restaurant?
About 4.5 years now.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you are a chef there?
Yep.
Okay, he's the head chef.
That's my
that's your
my charge there.
Right on.
And my joy.
Right on.
Yeah.
And it seems like everybody that I met there, the kitchen staff that I met, and Rob in the front, they're really nice people. They're all happy. They seem very happy.
We have a great team.
Okay.
We have an incredible team, yeah.
That's cool. And you do, as we walked in, you were sweeping, you do everything right there, right? Good for you, Jen. It always takes that, it's always, somebody's got to really get it together. James Kirk, Dr. Kirk, was telling me the other night, John, pardon me, that if it weren't for Cynthia cracking the whip, he wouldn't get too much done. He likes to talk to everybody. There's also, I found out, a guy came to me at that party, that soft opening, and he says, I'd love to be on your show. And I said, what do you do? And he says, well, I'm running for the Harbor Commission. 3 of the positions are opening. Mm-hmm. This is a expressly non-political, non-contentious show, as it always has been since I've been doing this for almost a couple of years now. But is that a contentious job? Is that something that a lot of people are vying for? Do you know? But if you're on that commission, are you pulling a lot of weight? Are you potentially making a lot of big changes, big splashes in our community? I
think we're at a point in time, and I would hope that our community would be really interested in this topic. The harbor is a really important part of Del Norte County and Crescent City. We're a functional working port, and there have been a lot of changes within every industry. There's been, climate changes, industry changes, and so forth. The harbor is at a point of, I think, an opportunity of almost a rebirth. And so, no, there aren't a lot of people vying for that. There are 3 positions coming open. I think there are 5 candidates on the ballot. It'll be interesting to see. Do they carry a lot of power? I think the new commissioners coming in have the opportunity to really help shape the future of Crescent City Harbor District and Crescent City, as well as Del Norte County. So, it's a great opportunity at this moment in time for how things are going to be done. What is this going to look like in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 50 years? Because we're at a point of just so many things available for change, needing to be changed. So,
are they not HOJ's landlord? They're
yes. The harbor owns the.
They
property.
own everything, right?
Yep.
It's like a trailer park where you own your mobile home or a house on the,
right.
but you don't own the land beneath
right.
it. I figured it was one of those things. I said, okay.
But yeah,
so
the folks coming into these new positions, or they're old positions, but there's new folks coming in. I mean, they have all the potential to really shape what can happen down
right
there.
on.
And it is a diamond in the rough down there.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It is. That's what we are all.
Sunsets.
Yeah.
I'm a newbie here in
lighthouse.
Crescent City, and I lived 3 years up in Brookings before moving down here last year. But I'm a relative newbie, and I take everybody down there, and I go, "This place is gonna pop. It's
Yep.
gonna pop." You take them down by the chart room down there, and you see the seals. I've shown my German in-laws all that, and they're just amazed by it and the beauty, the rugged beauty.
And the surfing on South Beach.
The surfing on South Beach, there it is. And even my friend Danny Freitas, who will be on this show, wants to start a renew this kite festival. He wants to bring it down here, so he'll be instrumental in bringing a kite festival down. You're right there positioned. The house of Jambalaya is right there. It's central. It stands out. You're not surrounded by anything pretty much. It's just you and your unique restaurant. Let's talk a little bit about that. Again, how many years ago did you open up the house of Jambalaya?
The restaurant's been 4.5 years.
4.5 years.
Food business started about 18 years ago.
Yeah, that'd be about right.
As a pop-up kitchen, doing events and
music festivals.
Yeah.
back in
East.
Philly.
Back east.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were back east too, Jen, when you were hanging
Yes.
out. Okay, you were hanging out back east.
I was hanging out.
Were you like in a food truck kind of deal? Pop-up
tent.
Tents with
wow.
propane burners and cookers. We could pretty much go anywhere.
Right.
Which was part of our thing, that we could go out and do music festivals where there was
so
no
you were
electric.
grounded in those things. You were grounded with that, and so then you is this the first brick and mortar, somewhat anchored place? And how did you find out about, and what made you decide on coming to the harbor in Crescent City?
So the food business was really weekend warrior style. Michael, worked full time.
And then some.
Who'd you work for?
Oh, the Suburban Propane.
Okay, cool.
And that I worked for them about 24 years.
Wow.
Back east, and since 2009.
They're a nationwide thing.
Yep.
I thought we get our propane from Suburban. Yeah, cool. So you were there for years, and you were doing the weekend warrior stuff. And you come out here, and then kind of refocused and said, "Let's do this." Is that how?
What's Jen started asking me, "What does retirement look like?" And I said, I find something else to do, because I'm not going to sit still.
You don't sit still.
I don't sit still. And, we thought trying to enhance what we do, and started doing some of the smaller festivals around here, and kind of see how it's received, and did that for a few years, and decided to start exploring what it looks like to do it bigger. I think we were looking more like a real retirement, small mom and poppy kind of thing, but this is a little bigger, and it just
it's got a good
vibe. We wound
vibe.
up in the harbor.
When we arrived here, we had been doing we were active.
Yeah,
we were doing things every weekend back in the Philadelphia area, and when we moved out here, there really weren't any music festivals. There wasn't the opportunity to do things the same way that we were doing, so we weren't that active as House of Jambalaya at first. That's like 2009, 2010. And we quickly got plugged into doing community events. So I think one of the first big events we did was the Rockin' It Rowdy, which was a fundraiser for the Child Care Council. At that point, had been an annual event, a terrific event. We were really welcomed and supported in that. And then the next thing that really helped us as a building a base here and getting known was the Downtown Divas and First Friday. So we did a year of pretty much every one, unless there was one canceled because of weather or something. But that also, we have tremendous gratitude for the community and how we were not only received, but helped build us up and getting our brand known, getting us known, helping walk us into the community and
supportive.
so forth. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, and I think that definitely helped us once we did get the brick and mortar. We already had a local community that knew who we were. We weren't outsiders. We weren't, something else. People knew the quality of food to expect, what the food was, because our food is definitely a niche. It's, specialty food. So people knew what our level of integrity was, what our level of professionalism was, what the quality of food was, and that was key, I think, to our success in those early days.
Have you spent any time in Louisiana or? Yeah.
Visited.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. And that you just decided that would be a good specialty that you would like to do.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. I had over the years had a fellow that I played music with back east that has been the chef most of his life, and up and down the West Coast.
Cool.
And then of course, again back in Pennsylvania where he and I met. And another fellow that had a restaurant in the town we lived in, Reading, Pennsylvania, that had a little shop.
Cool.
That I was already interested in. I think that has to do with my father and his Tex-Mex from Oklahoma, kind of spicy. We always cooked at home.
Interesting.
So I swear my mother had a lot to do with this as well. When she sat me down and said, if you want to continue eating like this, you're going to have to learn how to cook.
Yeah.
So, I had a guy who had a restaurant that was half Italian and half Cajun, and his name was Gennaro Polano, so I understood the Italian.
There we go.
And asked him about the other side, and he was a sous chef for Paul Prudhomme down in the French Quarter for about 12 years.
Sure. Wow.
And he,
big name.
So he would gladly come share information and sit and talk, and it was
cool.
Nice kicking the pants to get you going in that direction.
You called the restaurant business earlier when we were talking before the show intense.
It can be intense. Yeah.
It can be an intense restaurant. A couple of things. My takeaway from my quick previewing of your restaurant was I wasn't blown away by a huge menu. I go into some restaurants and I see these Bibles on as menus, and I go, wait a minute. I know enough about the restaurant business. No way in heck can you have that many things, and I have spoilage and problems with keeping. So it was kind of a refreshing thing. Look at the menu. It's not too complicated. It's not too much. You put it out there. I guess you've got your favorites you found out from your folks that patronize you, and you've been doing it for 4.5 years. So congratulations on that. Both those points. Yeah. And had a good glass of wine the other day. Doc has her. She's German, so she loves her beer, and had a good time. So everybody was very nice to me. And that little porch you have in front, where we can watch the surfers in the distance, hear the laughter of the folks around us, music right down on the caddy corner from you, right there within 50, 60 feet away. You're there. So it was all good. It was a good vibe, and I'm really happy that you are doing what you are doing. What are the business hours of the House of Jambalaya?
We're currently 11:30 a.m. until 7 p.m., Thursday through Monday. We are closed Tuesday, Wednesday. That has been consistent since we opened our doors.
Okay.
We make pretty much everything on the menu from scratch, from our original recipes. So that Tuesday, Wednesday, we're making the sauces and smoking the peppers and smoking all the things, because our menu is labor intense. When you do go to a restaurant and see a 10-page menu, a lot of that food is coming in already prepared.
Yes.
Ours comes in as whole vegetables and whole, proteins and so forth. So the labor is really tremendous.
How many people work for the HOJ?
Currently, we have a pretty small staff. We're on our winter staff right now, so we have 5 employees, and everybody works full time. It's
cool.
All day, every day. Yeah.
Right on. I saw some of the kitchen staff there. Again, like I said, they just seem to be all very happy, big smiles, and everybody's content. Do you do catering? Is that part of your...
Catering, so we do make food for events by request. We're not set up, and we don't do full catering where we would show up and serve and have everything like buffet style and have servers available. We're just not able to do that. We don't have the staff.
Or the space. The smaller menu, the intensive work that needs to be done to make this stuff with rotating specials and things like that.
Right. Cool.
To to expand out into something bigger would be expansion.
But we do two things. We often, especially in the winter, do private events. So people will host parties or different events like that. And we love doing that. We'll create a menu, whether it's based on items they want or they want to spend so much money per head. And we'll create a menu around that. And then also not this past weekend, the weekend before, we had a very, very exciting wedding that we did, and I wouldn't call it catered. We made the food and they came and picked it up. Cool. But they had requested a whole alligator, which Michael and the fellas in the kitchen, Eric and Tyler, who are just phenomenal.
A farmed alligator?
We believe it. I think they catch them down in Louisiana.
Down in the swamp there.
People.
And so if you're interested in that picture, that's on our social media on Facebook as well.
And how was it like cooking a whole alligator? How big of a 3 foot, 5 foot?
He was about 5 foot, 5.5 feet.
Tail to tip.
30 pounds. And he came skinned and cleaned except for the head and the feet. Still had...
Oh, my goodness, yeah.
All intact.
I'm well familiar with the gators they have in the South.
It was a fun
marinated
project.
him and rubbed him and stuffed his tail with boudin rice and andouille sausage and veggies and smoked him a little bit and barbecued him up.
Wow. That sounds mouth-watering because every time I've tried swamp creatures, I've had from snakes to gator to frogs to turtle. It tastes like the swamp. I gotta say, they taste like the swamp. So that would have been a treat.
I will say, Michael's masterful at the way he prepares. I like to lean into those more exotic meats up here. Our menu is kind of exotic for people, but when we can get alligator or frog legs or something, it's just a little extra special. And he knows his stuff. Michael knows his stuff. Cool. And that swampiness is never there. We get amazing reviews about those swamp creatures.
Actually have alligator on the menu this weekend.
Whoa. And what's happening this weekend?
I will be making a sauce piquant, and we will smoke some gator legs, and then we will lightly bread them and fry them.
Cool. Hey, Ralph, what's going on?
You guys want possum?
Do they want possum and gator?
Possum got in my chicken coop last night.
Not
good.
Serving up some possums. All I can do is go out there and skin them up right now.
That would be a new one
That
for
would
me.
be a new one for me. I almost hit a possum coming back last night from Brookings. It was on the stretch right there by the prison on 101, and it just came right out in front of me, and I swerved just at the right time. There's nobody coming in the right way. Otherwise, I'd have had to hit him. But yeah, possums are kind of slow, as we know. All right. So, what is the phone number? What's the phone number of the House of Jambalaya?
Phone number is 707-465-1465. Now I have a very funny story about the phone number.
Yeah, please tell me the phone number stories.
All right, so our business is called Schmidt's House of Jambalaya, which is a mouthful. And when we're writing it out, since we started calling ourselves that, we would abbreviate all of that with HOJ. And we say Hoj, but we write it HOJ.
Hoj, all right.
So when we were transitioning to this location...
Give Heidi's contribution to that?
No. As we were transitioning to this location, the building came with the phone intact, and we just took over the existing phone number. And my family, I come from a long line of superstitious women. And I
didn't know that.
Now you know.
Now I know.
And so when we looked at the phone number, which was inherent, we didn't
465
get a new 465-1465. When you look at it, if you look at the numbers on the keypad, it's 707 HOJ 1 HOJ, and that phone number was already there at the location. And at a time when we were taking this tremendous leap of faith, quitting our jobs, all of this. I have another story to follow on with that. But at the time we were, this leap of faith. I mean, we had kids at home. They were 11 and 13 when we opened the restaurant. Michael transitioning out of a 24-year career, great job. I had a position that I absolutely loved. I was working at the Early Learning Center at Uncharted Shores Academy. Absolutely loved it. We did love our jobs. But this vision required, we couldn't do this part-time. It required our full presence. So we quit our
now
resigned
I
from
see
our jobs.
It. Okay, so I'm looking at your phone number. I'm reading it. 707-465-1465. Why can't I have a phone number like that?
So it's HOJ, one HOJ, and I thought, all right, this is a sign. This is a sign,
this is a
right?
good sign.
That's the
universe. That's the universe talking
of
to you.
Superstitious women. So we thought, okay, that's fine.
We're going to take a break right here, folks, because it is actually a little bit past that half-hour point of the show. These shows go by so fast, especially when I have interesting, unique, talented folks in the studio, such as Jen and Michael Schmidt here on KFUG 101.1 FM. You're listening to Jacques Talks. We are here every Wednesday for you, and I want to give a special invitation to anyone out there that is a character or knows of a character or someone that excels at what they do best in our community. Please put them in touch with me, and I would love to host them on the show and find out about what you're doing. You can reach me on a phone number, the world's worst phone number. It's 707-465-14. That's your phone number, 1465. That's the house of Schmidt's House of Jambalaya, or Hoj, right, as you call it. My number is 415-608-1063, or you can text me there or friend me. A lot of people friend me. Go to Facebook, find me Jacques, like Jacques Cousteau. KEP is in Paul, NER, and you'll find me there and friend me. And I'm getting about 4 or 5 friends a day because of this continuing thing. Now, some of you, I'm a little suspect, so I haven't friended you so fast because I have to do a little research. If coming from another country or something like that, I'm apt to not friend you. But you could reach me. I'd love to have you on the show. Again, you're listening to KFUG 101.1 FM in Crescent City, and now KZZH in Humboldt, Arcata, and Eureka. All of you down there, welcome. Reach out to me. All right, coming back to Jen Schmidt, who's just told us a kind of a confirmation story. The universe sent you the message, yes, continue with this business because it's HOJ, the 465, and then 1465 again. What's the other story you were going to tell me?
All right. So in that transition, the last day, Michael's last day at Suburban Propane was Friday, March 13th, 2020. And we had just gotten the keys.
Time to quit, man.
Just gotten the keys to the restaurant. So that was on Friday. And on Sunday, we learned that all restaurants in California had to cease operation because of COVID. So we had only had the restaurant for 2 days. For 2 days, and we learned we couldn't even open. And so, it was when I said leap of faith. Yeah. I can't emphasize that anymore, what we were experiencing. And every person was affected by that, every person. But for us, having just transitioned out of these great careers and
taking the leap of faith,
taking the leap of faith and into the restaurant was, really a remarkable time. A remarkable time to start a business, a new industry for us. We knew our food really well. I know customer service. Michael knows business. That was all fine. But this vast unknown was such a stretch. And I have tremendous gratitude for that. We grew, but I know for myself, I think I grew the equivalent of 20 years in my understanding of entrepreneurship and business in that first year.
Wow.
Because every day there was no cushion for indecision. Every minute, every day we'd check in a couple times a day. What's working, what's not working.
And no outline of do this, do this, do this, because everything just got the rug yanked out from
and it was straight up survival. We didn't have a backup plan, and actually our friends all asked us, what's your plan B? Like, there's no plan B. This is the plan and we're going to make it work. And so it was that level of being put, to the fire, or the way diamonds are under pressure. It couldn't have been any more pressure than it was. And looking back on it, compared to that, the rest of life is just easy. Any given day is like, this is nothing.
Yeah, you've been through the burner at the very beginning there, right?
Yeah.
You emerged from the other side. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So many businesses just sunk.
Yeah.
They just couldn't put up with this. And it was such an uncertain time. There were times I remember hearing these people talking, it's going to be like this for the next 10 years, 10, 15, maybe 20. And you go, jump into the fire right now and get it over with. So you survived it. You learned from it, and now everything seems so much easier because that you survived a hardship right off the bat. Literally a couple days later, you found out that state of California sent you
2 days later. 2 days, yeah.
I mean, good for you that you did that. I guess being tested, right off the bat, wow.
Speaking to like being tested, for us, the confirmation in our commitment to our vision is really what it came down to. Because if we hadn't been fully committed to our vision, we both could have gone back to our jobs. It had only been the weekend and said, you know what?
Right.
But were we committed to our vision? And what is our vision? And so it was that constant refining of what's working, what's not working, how are we going to embody these principles and bring them forward? How are we going to model this as we're bringing staff on? It's a very holistic vision that we have that is so multifaceted. It's not just the food. When we set out to open the restaurant, we wanted to create a place that we would like to go. And our kids are such a huge part of our life. A place we would like to go if they were 1 or 5 or 10 or 15 or 20. That it ticked all the boxes for us. It felt good and warm and inviting. It's a place we'd like to gather. The food is good. The ambiance is good. The music is good. The view is good. Everything about it, fits that. And so that's what we set out to create. And that refining that, again, with what's working and what's not, just constantly keeps us evolving.
Did
and
you
I think that's a secret to success.
Constructive when was that? Was the deck on the front there when you bought it?
The deck was already there.
So here's the next question. What was in that business before you took over with Schmidt's House of Jambalaya?
Yeah, that location has a long history of business. Immediately prior to us was a restaurant called North Coast Ocean Sports and Grill, and we are business partners with the people who were also running that, Scott and Patty Hillier, who are just wonderful, amazing people. So that continuity, allowed us. Prior to that, it was a amazing restaurant locally called Porcini, which did really high-end food, amazing wine list. Everything was just spectacular. They were not there for very long, and the community loved them very much. Again, prior to that, for about 10 years, it was called Bistro Gardens. That's what it was when we first moved here.
So it's all Michael, was all the equipment in the kitchen there when you took over?
I think most of it, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So it had been passed down. It kept going, all the hoods and all that stuff.
It was all there.
All that kind of stuff that's so important in a business. Well, congratulations that you passed the 1 and then 2. Well, you passed the COVID test. Number 1, that's such a big thing. Again, knowing my son, I just watched all of the restaurants around him evaporate during COVID. Yeah. It just was amazing to walk down University Avenue and see nothing but one closed restaurant after another. So that your screened in, glassed in outdoor thing, that you could serve out there, right?
And the yard.
Yeah.
The yard, that's right.
Picnic tables.
We had a lot of things that worked in our favor and allowed us to continue during COVID. And one was just that, our location. And we also already had an integrated takeout window. So it was very easy for people to get the good food and just still be able to be outdoors. We had so many of our local friends that own restaurants, and they couldn't make that takeout transition easily. They didn't have space. You can't really go out and eat in a parking lot on 101 very comfortably. Right. So they had unique challenges that we didn't have. So that definitely worked in our favor.
We were small and starting small and got our skeleton crew name from that because I believe in the very beginning it was
us plus 1.
Yeah, or 2.
Or 2.
What was it called?
Oh no, we were only able to have a staff of 1 or 2 when we first opened.
So we kept it to that.
Wow,
that's what we had to do to financially
as
work.
Things opened up, we were able to grow into it.
Right. Oh my goodness, what a trip! Well, those days are past now.
Yeah.
And I know this is a non-political, non-contentious program, but what's it like dealing with the city of Crescent City? Are they pretty good on it? Are they on your side? Do you feel happy with what the city's doing for you, if anything?
I love the city. Our restaurant is part of the Harbor District, which is its own government entity. It's separate from the city. And we have a great relationship with the harbor. We have a very good working relationship with the harbor.
You like it? Well, there's not much to dislike about your Schmidt's House of Jambalaya. I saw some crawdads there the other day you were serving up, right?
Yes.
So that's unique, right?
Occasionally, part of the year we can get them from Louisiana, ship them up live. And then as that season kind of wanes off, there's also Lake Billy Chinook over in Oregon that they harvest crayfish from.
Well,
so that kind of
Oregonian
carries us through the tail end of the summer.
The tail end, no pun intended. Yeah, there we go.
Absolutely.
We've covered that. I'm glad we talked about the COVID because that would be considered the big trial and tribulations that you had to go through. You survived it, so good for you. You've survived that. You've made it 4.5 years. You're smooth sailing from here on. Tell me now about some other aspects of your life. What else do you, Jen? You're very, very, you're invested in the community. I just found out you're president of the DNACA, which is the Del Norte
Association for Cultural Awareness.
All right.
Yeah, I love our community with all my heart. I love it. We moved here consciously. We came here. Our kids were little. They've been raised here. Like I said, they were 1 and 3 when we moved here. And part of our philosophy is I can't expect something to be a way unless I'm willing to be that way.
Right on.
And we've taught our kids, if you want to live in a certain kind of community, you have to create that community.
Amen.
And so our kids have learned, if we want to have a place with festivals, we are going to have to put on some festivals or be involved with the festivals that people are putting on. So yes, I'm quite involved. We're both very involved in the community. I am the board president for DNACA, Del Norte Association for Cultural Awareness. DNACA is a large arts organization. We have many, many, many programs. Our most visible is our performance series, where this year we'll be bringing 5 global artists to the community. We're in our 44th year, so this is a long-standing
institution. It's been around.
Institution.
It's weathered the test of time, as
yes.
they say, right?
And I'm very proud of it. It's an incredible organization. Del Norte County would not be the same without DNACA.
Yeah.
We've done so much to support and bring art to the community. We support local artists. I'm looking at the poster up there of Dirt and Glitter. That's our friend Lauren Godla. She was one of the recipients of an Art in Residence program put on by Redwood Park Conservancy, RPC, and DNACA was involved in that. So, we're involved in so many programs within the community that have a direct impact to the local artists, local teachers, local education system.
The veteran programs.
Yep, veterans, just so many things. So it's
where does the art at the airport, is that what you're...
That's DNACA, yes.
DNACA, so all those pictures, paintings, and artwork that's out there.
Yes.
There's various artists that have just become part of DNACA, and then you're able to show it out there?
Yeah, we host various art shows. So the mezzanine at the airport is one of the venues for that. We host the art at the courthouse, all throughout the courthouse, and we change that out regularly. We have various artists. They go to a juried show, and then they're selected and get an opportunity to show
shout out to Crescent Harbor, which is right around the corner from you, not far from you, and,
yes.
and just a frisbee toss from the new Port-au-Prince South Beach. And Stephen Washburn and Sharon Cheeks, who was there every day. A shout out to them. I have found this kind of struggling to find a footing as far as why isn't this a community of total? Why isn't this an art colony? Why? It's as beautiful as Carmel.
Yes,
it's got so much potential, but it's like it just kind of lags on the art. So, how did you find out about DNACA?
I've been on the board probably 8 years now.
Wow.
I was asked, our executive director at the time, her name was Stephanie Wenning. She was born and raised here, amazing person, instrumental in transitioning, DNACA forward. And she just asked me if I wanted to join as a volunteer, and one thing led to another.
Sure.
And
now you're
here
president
I still
of the board.
Yeah, I've been president, I think, for 6 years.
Cool. You can find out more by going to DNACA.
DNACA.net.
Yeah, it's everywhere. I see it. Good for you. All right, Mr. Michael Schmidt, who I first met as a great bass player with the Way Outs, and I'll never forget the first time I saw you guys like trip me out. I go, wait a minute, where did this band come from? And where are they playing? They're playing some weird Dead music, and you guys had a bunch of deadies, headies around. What do they call them?
The Deadheads.
Deadheads, yeah, the Deadheads hanging out, shaking their booty to your music, and then I see you again. I guess it was a St. Patrick's Day, and you're playing with the McCools, which looks like the same group, but you've added a violinist and
me on the whistle.
Oh, is that you on the
That is
whistle?
me, yes.
We saw you on the whistle. You were in the back.
Yep.
Now, tell us about the Way Outs. Whose conception? What do you do? What's going on with that?
We just.
Who are the guys with you?
Some of this stuff happened. Ross Morgan,
lead guitar,
due to COVID. We had a group that was getting together, and when it fell apart on the second shutdown of COVID, me and Ross said, we should still just keep getting together and playing and sit out on the porch and keep it happening. And one thing led to another. Tom Boylan, who is Holus Bolus, was playing out on our deck at the House of Jambalaya and said, "I want to play drums for you and Ross."
Wow.
Like, okay.
Right.
And then another
drummers are hard to find.
Another buddy of mine was through town, and he's an amazing guitar player, and he said, "Come sit with us." And the four of us were sitting around, going in the garage, of course, and said, "Wow, we practically have a band here."
Right.
So he lives too far away to continue doing it on a regular basis. So I remembered Mr. Alderman from playing with him off and on at different places.
Tommy, who was here a couple weeks ago with Dog Park Mondays.
Yeah,
sure.
They're fun.
And so I gave him a ring and see what the heck he was up to. So he came and started sitting with us, and I guess the rest is kind of history.
And you got a unique sound, good talent. I mean, you're solid talent all the way through.
Well, thank you.
You got a good voice. You could play the ukulele. It's the biggest ukulele I've ever seen, right? I said the other day, wow, who's playing the ukulele? The lady says, he is. The guy on the end over there, pointing to you. And I go, no, I said, from my distance, it's a guitar. No, it's a big ukulele, she says, right? It's the bass ukulele.
Tenor ukulele.
Tenor, pardon me. That was a trip. And then Tommy Alderman, right? Who plays both piano and the Yamaha synthesizer and guitar.
He plays piano, guitar. He switches off on the bass when I play ukulele. Sometimes Ross Morgan plays the bass. Ross is a good bass player.
And I think the hardest of all the positions, drummers. I could sit in front of a drum, and you don't want me to sit in front of a drum. So you got a good thing, and then when special occasions arise, you become the piper.
Yeah.
Jen, the piper.
Yeah, the Irish band.
Wearing your little hat there, and then there was a kid sitting down on the front.
And that was Tyler playing the bar and drum, and he's one of the guys in our kitchen.
And then who was the fiddler in front, the gal?
Allie Ramsey.
That was great. What's it like playing? I got to ask you, what's it like playing Port au Prince? It's so squashed in there. It's so small.
It's a hoot.
It's a hoot. Yeah,
it's huge compared to what it used to be.
We had an Irish band, 2015-ish.
Yeah.
And called the Darlingtonias.
Port au Prince was only half the size back then.
It was just the bar.
Just the bar side.
Oh my
goodness! We would stuff 9 people into that corner playing music to a completely
that front little corner where there's now a couple booth tables.
Yes.
Yeah.
To a completely sardine packed room.
That was fun.
What a trip! Well, wait till you play the new the South Beach Port-au-Prince.
I'm looking forward to that.
Were you there with that opening?
Yes.
Yeah, you were. That's right. We said we shook hands, saw each other for a moment. But that big, it's so expansive where they play, and I guess they're going to put a stage up there too in that same area. Yep. So all the more power to that, and what fun! And how about this? People could come down to the harbor. And they could go into an art gallery and then walk over, have a beer, and then walk on down and have dinner at the Schmidt's house of Jambalaya. S-Ho-J, right? S-Ho-J?
Hoj, just Hoj.
Hoj. Okay. Right.
Yeah, and that's really the vision, for the harbor and I mean, all of our community, to be able to have things that are within walking distance
right on.
is a dream. Every harbor city in the world is colorful and lively and has a lot going on, and ours will get there. There's always things going on at Jambalaya.
And the trail completely connects everything over to the city park and Front Street.
Coming back to the way outs, I got to ask you now. You have some original stuff, all right? Your original songs. I yelled out the other day, "Is that original?" You go, "No, that's Atomic Clash or whatever."
Yeah, we do some obscure music for sure.
Obscure music. I thought that was it. But when you play your original songs, you have to point that out again, because I'm tuned into that. I'm not a big music guy, but I sure do. You read music, by the way?
I was once better at it.
Yeah, there we go. That's how I was too. Yeah.
You've been writing music. When did you write your first song? How old were you?
Pretty much when we first got guitars in about 10th or 11th grade.
Yeah. You wrote your first song.
Mike's been playing for a little while.
Kumbaya. That's all right. Really, really fun band. Good spirit, too. And all the more power to you.
It's a lot of fun.
We got a lot of really talented folks here.
We really do.
And then if you expand that out to Brookings, so you can incorporate some of the Brookings thing, man, it's an incredible region of very talented people. Many of these people have been big time people in big bands that are now retired here, right?
Yeah.
As many of us are. And they're playing their heart's content the way they want to play it with nobody behind them. So I pick up that good vibe with the Way Outs and the McCools. So the next time you're going to play the McCools is going to be on St. Patty's Day, maybe?
I believe that would probably be it.
And you're going to be there?
Of course I'll be there.
Okay, I can't wait.
Yeah.
We saw you guys. Who is that there? Playing your little, what do they call your little?
Penny whistle or tin whistle.
A tin
whistle.
A tin whistle. Well, it sounded very, very good. That was a good vibe, too. A lot of fun. When's your next gig? You got one coming up anytime soon?
We are Friday night up at Oxenfree in Brookings.
Whoa. Friday night? Okay, man. I don't know what's happening. We tend to stay here, although we go up 3 times a week to Brookings. We got the Doc and Jacques show right after this. We have a Doc and I have to go up to there, and we have our live show on KCIW. But all right. Well, that sounds good. Oxenfree is a different vibe too. Different. It's right above the KCIW studio. The studio is right down by Misty Mountains, right below the Black Trumpet.
Okay.
That's where the stairs that go down from the Black. Have you been there to the KCIW studios?
No.
Okay, it's right underneath. You just walk down the stairs from the Black Trumpet, which is right next door to the Oxenfree. All right, we've got only a few minutes here, about 6-7 more minutes, and I want to ask you, what's the most interesting thing about Schmidt's House of Jambalaya? What do you like best about your business? Either one of you.
Do you have an off the top of your head answer?
I just thoroughly enjoy the camaraderie of not just the staff, but the people that come there too.
We've created something, and I don't at all want this to sound like it's coming from a place of ego. I say this with complete gratitude and astonishment. We've created a culture there that just... It feels good. It feels good. It's a very positive place.
It is a good vibe.
People are there because they want to be there. We have people. We had a woman come. This doesn't sound like a happy story at all, but her husband passed, and she was in Brookings, and the very first thing she did was come to Jambalaya, because she feels so good when she's there, and she wanted to be in that feeling. And that, to me, is amazing.
Wow.
That's amazing. We have people...
She just asked me the other day if I remembered that.
Yes.
Very, very touching story.
People come there because they want to celebrate. They want to feel community, and I think that's it. They want to feel community. And to us, as I said earlier, community is such a special thing that we get to have and be part of, and we want to expand that and exude that and be part of creating a more cohesive, healthy community.
Right on.
And you feel that there. And so to me, I think that's the most special. Plus the food's really good.
Doc and I will come down because she spent she's been here now 4 years as a medical doctor up at Sutter Coast, but before that she spent 7 years at Lake Charles, Louisiana, and would still be there except Hurricane Laura came in and destroyed her house. So wiped it off, and she decided to move at that point. So she's always intrigued. So we will come in and enjoy our time at the Schmidt's House of Jambalaya. What's the hardest thing about your business? What's the thing you least like about?
Sometimes the hours. When we opened, no joke, it was 20-hour days, and 7 days a week. It was incredible, and even sometimes now it's like that. There's different types of business owners. You saw me sweeping. We work elbow to elbow with everybody in our business, and so sometimes what it takes to keep it alive is a little much sometimes.
It's a lot of hard work.
Lack of downtime.
A lot of work.
Yeah, and that's okay, and it's worth it, and it's so
Taxing
rewarding.
hours.
But I mean, to be honest, that would be it. It's.
You got two kids at home, or one kid at home. One's going away, college maybe.
Yep. Yeah. She's in Europe right now, and
that's right.
Yeah,
at the
she'll
Louvre.
be coming back. What's that?
At the Louvre?
Yeah, today. That's
what
where
is her name?
Her name?
Yeah.
Jardin.
Jardin. Hey, Jardin at the Louvre today.
Yes, that's right.
You might be listening to this on the House of J. Which I want your phone number, 465-1465 with a 707, because that stands House of Jacques. House of Jacques. There it is.
Yes.
Let's trade, please. We've been talking with Michael and Jen Schmidt, who are the owners of the House of Jambalaya, House HOJ, on Anchor at the end of the road, going out towards the harbor, down in South Beach. Great place, wonderful times to be had there. Where do you guys see yourself in 2 to 5 years from now?
2 to 5 years.
Yeah, let's start with 2. That's easier.
2 years, I think. Dive in if you want to dive in.
We'll be right here.
I think we'll be right here. We have an expanded vision, which just includes more of what we're already doing, right? In 2 years, I love to think that the harbor is more vibrant and vital, and that we're a core part of that. I think just having the whole community be more lively.
Right on.
We want to be part of. Yeah.
So true. And you got Oxenfree this coming Friday night, which is the 4th, the 5th of October 5th. Today's the 2nd, 3rd, 4th. No, 4th.
Yep.
4th. October 4th.
With the way outs.
At the way outs at Oxenfree. It starts late at 9 o'clock.
Somewhere between 8 and 9.
Yeah. That's one of the issues.
We're ready
that we've
to go.
had is, I'm over
kind
60,
of a late crowd.
That's
over there.
late for Del Norte County. That's one of the things we get asked. This sleepy town. When we moved here, we said, "Oh my gosh, if we ever have a restaurant, we're going to be open till 10 every night." Because coming from Philly, we couldn't believe how early town shut down, and we close at 7. This just isn't that town. People don't go out late here.
That's true, and it's a retirement community, so we do tend to hang up our shoes a little earlier.
Thank you, Jacques.
We have found out a lot about Michael and Jen Schmidt, more than just their restaurant, which is located. What's the address again? One more time.
110 Anchor Way.
110 Anchor Way, 707-465-1465. And you can find out more by going in and just getting the good vibes. Tell them you heard of this radio, and we will catch you next week. Let's see who's coming. I have Nick Rail. Next week, we have Nick Rail coming to the studio to talk it up about his PPA, which is a performance or a partnership for performing arts, which is building the big convention center north of town on the high school property. Listen, folks, thank you so much for tuning into Jacques Talks. I appreciate every one of you. With that, I will be off. Peace and love to everyone. Thank you.